Imagine an evening at the port. Two impressive yachts stand next to each other. Both are about 80 feet long. From a distance, they look almost identical. White hulls, elegant lines, lights reflecting in the water. On the transom plaques, the number 80 feet proudly appears. On paper, almost the same length. But when you step on board, the real story begins. On the first yacht, the salon is tall and full of light. You can move freely between the table and the sofa, with tall windows opening to the sea like a penthouse view on the Riviera. The owner's cabin resembles a five-star hotel suite, and the crew has their own sensibly designed area. On the second yacht, it's still nice, but a bit tighter. The ceilings are lower, the passageways narrower, the bathrooms smaller. The crew sleeps almost right next to the engine room, and every maneuver with a suitcase becomes a small challenge. And yet on paper, both yachts are 80 feet, the same length. So why does the feeling on board differ so much? The answer lies in one often overlooked concept: gross tonnage, GT. What exactly is gross tonnage? Although the word tonnage suggests weight, GT has nothing to do with the mass of the yacht. It is a measure of volume, the total capacity of all enclosed spaces inside the hull and superstructure. One could say that GT is the equivalent of square meters in an apartment, only in 3 dimensions. It shows how much air is really inside, in living rooms, cabins, corridors, technical rooms, crew areas, and the engine room. The International Maritime Organization introduced GT to standardize the way ship sizes are measured worldwide. From that moment on, it was GT, not the length itself, that became the basis for many regulations and rules. In simplified terms, GT is calculated as follows. First, the total volume of enclosed spaces is measured. This is called V, volume. Then, a special coefficient K is used, which depends on the size of the yacht, and it is plugged into the formula GT equals K times V. You don't need to know mathematics to understand the most important thing. The larger the interior volume, the more real space for living and working, the higher the GT. For you as a future owner, GT is simply information. How big this yacht is inside, not just how long it looks from the outside. Why can length alone be so misleading? Because length, LOA, can be tuned. The designer will extend the bow, create a sleek, spectacular stern line, and add a long swim platform. It looks fantastic in photos and in the catalog, but this extra length doesn't always mean more space where you really spend your time. In the salon, in the owner's cabin, on the flybridge, or in the crew area. 2 yachts of 24 meters can differ in interior volume by dozens of %. GT is honest, mathematics has no sentiment. Either there is space inside or there isn't. What does CoGT change for you as an owner? First and foremost, comfort. A higher GT means higher ceilings, wider corridors, larger bathrooms, a true owner's cabin, not just a slightly larger cabin. It is possible to have a large dining table, a separate lounge area, a section only for children or guests, a library, a small cinema, and sometimes a private gym. It also provides more space for water toys, storage, wardrobes, and everything that makes living on a yacht feel like being in a well-designed apartment, not just a pretty boat. The second, often underestimated aspect of GT is the conditions for the crew. You can have the most beautiful yacht in the world, but if the crew has nowhere to live and work, comfort quickly disappears. A larger GT allows for designing proper crew cabins, a separate mess, a storage for supplies, and a machine room where normal work can be done, not just in a semi-bent position. The crew that has the conditions works more calmly, stays with you longer, and can take care of every detail of your cruise. This is that invisible luxury that you don't feel immediately, but very strongly after the sailing season. A higher GT often also means better stability and different behavior at sea. Greater volume, a wider hull, increased displacement, and stabilization systems make a yacht with a higher GT operate more smoothly on waves, dance less on the anchor, and simply be more comfortable on long voyages. There is also the technical and legal GT phase. It is the gross tonnage, not just the length, that forms the basis of many international regulations. The GT of your yacht determines what safety systems it must have, what qualifications the captain and officers must hold, how often inspections need to be carried out, and what procedures are in place on board. Around 200 GT, you enter a world where a professional crew and management become the standard. Above 500 GT, your yacht is almost treated like a small commercial vessel with a full set of international conventions and obligations. It's a different league. It's important that you consciously decide which league you want to enter. Since GT is so important, why do almost no one mention it in yachts up to 24 meters? The reason is simple. Firstly, the regulations do not require this. In this segment, yachts are often registered as recreational vessels, for which tonnage mainly matters in documents, not in the sales prospectus. Secondly, counting and certifying GT costs time and money. Thirdly, GT doesn't always look good in the catalog. A yacht measuring 23.9 meters in length, very sleek and very fast, may have a relatively low GT. Another one, focused on comfort, with a similar length will have much more capacity. If the GT value always appeared next to the length, the differences between the designs would become very clear. And not every manufacturer wants to show this difference so explicitly. However, there are manufacturers who decided to play directly with GT. An excellent example is Wally. Look at the names. Wally Y150, Wally Y200. These numbers are not lengths in feet. They are approximate gross tonnage, 150 and 200 GT in yachts, which still formally fall under the 24-meter class. Wally openly tells the client, see how much volume we've managed to fit into this length. This is a signal of the industry's direction, more and more talking about real space, not just meters of length. What does all this mean for you if you're thinking about buying a yacht? First, don't stop at the question, how many meters does it have? Start asking, how much does GT have? How does this capacity translate into the interior layout? For crew conditions, for stability at sea, for legal and service requirements. Secondly, leverage the knowledge of people who have been reading these numbers for years and can translate them into concrete purchasing decisions. The true art in choosing a yacht is not finding the longest within a given budget. It is finding one where every cubic meter of space works for your comfort and safety. If you want to choose a yacht consciously, not just based on photos and the number of feet, subscribe to this channel and stay with me for upcoming episodes. And the next time you see a yacht described as 80 feet, calmly ask, okay, but what is its GT? That one question could change everything.